The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Table Topics.
Table Topics. It's we're back for one more show, and I hope that everybody is doing well.
Yep. Trying.
We're trying.
Trying like heck, right?
Hey, that's the only thing we can do. It's try. We just walked right into the studio, so we didn't even had a chance to chat what we're going to talk about, but that's fine. We will definitely find something to talk about. Let me start by asking neighborhoods. How are your neighborhood doing?
We haven't had a meeting in some time now. So I think the last time we had a meeting was back in October. Mm-hmm. And I don't see we're going to have one until like the summertime, most likely. But it's been very quiet on the whole. So we'll see. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do now, mm-hmm. Whether we're going to actually keep the group together or merge with another group, you know what I mean, or just disband it, you know what I mean. That mm-hmm. might be what the issue is, and then maybe it'll come up and be part again. We're not really, you know, I think COVID kind of hurt a lot of this, mm-hmm. As well as, you know, we don't really get a lot of support, I think. As we had in the past, and I'm talking, you know, also with the city, you know, mm-hmm. there's not a lot of support that we had, you know, years ago. So I think that's kind of part of it, but we'll see.
I think one problem that groups usually have is get young generations to participate.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing that I adopted many years ago, and I'm in charge of the organization now for 14 or 15 years.
Yeah.
One thing that I was always trying to do was get young generation involved.
Yeah.
And not just be on the outside.
Yeah.
Be on the inside,
yeah.
You know, and then came the day that, you know, people say, oh, but you have somebody on the board that don't even live on the neighborhood. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. As long as he cares about the neighborhood,
yeah.
he donates his time, and he gets involved. I don't care what part of the city that he belongs to.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we've been having our heads above water, is because if you look at the board, at one point, like Amy, it's an example.
Yeah.
She used to live on the Flint. She don't live on the Flint no more. Yeah. Now she lives on St. Anne's.
Yeah.
But guess what? She's involved since the beginning. What I'm going to tell her, no, you're not going to be part of the organization because you moved.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's impossible.
And I hear you. I mean, I don't really, to be honest with you, Carlos, with the exception of you guys, and I can't think of another group that I hear that is really even having meetings anymore. Mm-hmm. Other than, you know, maybe Maplewood, but I'm not even sure they are. I don't see anything.
South End.
Yeah.
South End, it's usually, I mean, I'm talking about, you know, before COVID.
Yeah.
South Main was good. South End was good. It was Niagara. It was Maplewood too. And Maplewood just got a new president.
Okay.
So matter of fact, I just got a text this week asking me who I'm going to have for guests next month, because they want to invite the guests for their meetings too. So, and I have people waiting to come and do presentations on our meetings. But we didn't had meetings in November, in December.
Yeah.
In January, last month, got canceled the week before because of the COVID. The school was still not available, so we had to cancel. But I was good enough, the board wanted to get together. So we did meet, the board met and the police was present too for the report at the Espírito Santo school. So we met there. What was good because a lot of the projects we have and to follow the bylaws need to be approved by the board. So I could not have the trips. I could not announce the trips. I could not announce events without being approved by the board. So we did agree that we need to, we had treasury reports to be approved from November, December, January. So we had a good meeting. You know, I mean, whoever want to be present were present, but at least the board met and we follow the rules and met all the rules so we can keep going. You know,
and that's good. I give you guys kudos for that. You know,
so talking about that, we secure 33 dates for this year. That we're gonna meet at Fonseca School. If we move a place, we will announce it before, but the last Wednesday of every month we will be meeting. Then we will have the bus trips. So far I have 14 trips, at least the bus company. I have 14 jobs booked with the bus company. And those include the drop-offs and pick-up in Boston for our trips overseas. So, but we have the beautification of Pleasant Street like we do every year. We have the trolley rides to the bio reserve with the kids from Watson School and Espírito Santo School.
Excellent.
We're gonna have the Portuguese tours for the kids for the Day of Portugal, touring the Portuguese monuments in Fall River, like we always do. We have a couple of car washes to fundraise money for the Forever Pose. We donated $1,000 last year. We're gonna still have the Katia Sart Scholarship. It will be on May 21st. The tickets should be arriving at any time that I've been printing right now. Same thing, the shrimp Mozambique or chicken Mozambique, whoever people like. We will keep the same price, the $15, and will be the same way, pick up or people can eat there. And it's going to be at the at Kathy's church on Eastern Avenue. Northeastern Avenue. So other than that, we have the Flint Pride Days. That's the block party that we do on Flint. We're going to keep the senior picnic that we do at the park, the picnic park in Fall River. We're gonna do this year, we're gonna participate on the Christmas parade again, and I'm gonna put together the Christmas show. We want to bring the Christmas show back, which we had an experience. Was a very good experience. We want to, but it has to be booked now so I can start contacting people and everything. So it's going to be a very busy year. I'm pretty sure that we're going to, through the year, we're going to be adding things. But so far, we already approved. We already approved 33 dates on our agenda.
Wow.
So it's going to be a busy year.
Yeah, sounds like it. That's good. Very good.
Busy year. Our cruise, it's sold out.
Okay. Where's that going? Mexico?
No, we're going to, we leave out of Barcelona.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be Barcelona, it will be Spain, France, and Italy.
Okay.
We have 10 cabins sold.
Cool.
So it's been sold since 2 years ago when we canceled.
Wow.
A couple of people drop off, another couple of people pick up. So, and our trip to Portugal, to Azores, I end up adding 10 more seats. And out of those 10 more seats, we have like 4 available now. And so we will be bringing 30 people to that event.
Excellent. Any new people or the same as last time?
We have a few at the same. They want to repeat.
Okay.
They want to repeat the dose.
That's good. Cool. Cool.
the Bouchard couple is going to go back
good,
again.
good.
The Gonzalez couple going to go back again. The Fernandez, the Brazilian.
Okay.
Sony.
Yep, Sony. Okay.
Sony
very
and
nice. Good.
Chris.
Cool.
They're going back again. You guys going back again. So we half of the group usually were there 2 years ago.
Cool. Excellent. That's
So-
good. That's
so
good.
it's become like a big family, and
Yeah.
they all want to
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. It was fun.
go and have fun again.
Yeah, it was a fun time for sure.
So I wish that that your group funds, a few people, because this will take many people to do something. But
Yeah. And-
a few people, couple events a year, at least.
Yeah,
You're still on the books.
We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna see. I mean, my own personal opinion. This is my own personal opinion. To me, it's like not worth continuing it. Other people still want to do it, but I mean, you've done it longer than me. It's been like 10 years. Like, and what I've wanted to do with the group, and it hasn't really come out, is I wanted to do a lot more. And we didn't have the people that want to participate. What we would have is, it seemed, and this is just my experience over 10 years, if there was an issue in the neighborhood, you'd get all these people to show up. But, to say, let's go clean this up, or let's plant trees, or let's do this, that, beautify something, you'd get 5 people, So I think that was a disappointment for
And
me.
here's an advice that I give you is go outside your boundaries.
Yeah.
I mean, I
And we do.
why I do. I got involved with the kids from the youth court.
Yeah.
I got involved with the kids from the cadets.
Yeah.
I got involved with the electric company.
Yeah.
I got involved with the firefighters.
Yeah.
So I kind of I reach out to
Yeah,
other people that on their own they like to help in something.
Yeah.
So if an organization out there would like to do a cleanup, I reach out to them and I do the cleanup with them.
Yeah.
So that's probably something that you guys should think about, is if you could reach
we'll
out
look
to.
at it. I mean, personally, in my opinion, and this is just my own personal opinion, it's a neighborhood group, so I want neighbors to be there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The like you. That's great that you do that. I just look at it. It's a neighborhood group. I would, think you want to join so you can meet your neighbors, know people. It's always best, especially in these times now. You're going to have to get back to knowing people. We've kind of got away from that, but it doesn't seem like things are getting any better in this country.
Yes.
So we're going to be going back to the way we were years ago. I see that I see it happening. You're going to have to depend on your neighbors, and I just know from just family I have in Maine. Everybody, it's like 7,000 people that live in my aunt and uncle's town, and they're just a lot more friendlier. They want to get together with people because that's all they have, so they depend on them. We don't have that in this city, but I think as time goes on, I see that changing. We see that happening right now in Canada. What's happening where they're having this big truck convoy and people are coming together, and it makes them feel good. They're coming together for a cause. And I see that.
What I see a lot too, and on our neighborhoods, is people, instead of protecting and staying to protect, they abandon ship.
Yeah.
You see more and more people living out of the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
They getting out. They're moving to towns around Fall River. They move into New Hampshire. They move into Florida.
Yeah.
So, and I cannot picture myself. The older I get, and the longer I live on the city, I have the more feeling I have that the more the city needs me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like being abandoned. It's like having my daughter here and abandon her and moving to Florida.
Yeah.
That's the way I think to my city. If I do that to my city, I think that the city is going to lose, and I don't want to abandon. Yeah. I fight so much for.
Yeah.
I dedicate so many years of my life that I cannot just abandon. You know what I'm saying?
See, I'm different than you. I could, if it wasn't for my wife, I could be anywhere right now.
Yeah.
Just to try
No, I
something.
can be,
Yeah, no, but I
but
mean, I would be, you know,
Yeah.
because life is short. So I wouldn't mind. I've lived in I've lived in a couple different places in the South Coast, and I've lived out of state. I wouldn't mind just going to live somewhere for a year, getting a different experience. Then maybe you'd come
Well, we
back.
travel.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
kinda
but-
have an
yeah,
opportunity to
and I
see.
hear that, but I think sometimes, maybe the grass isn't always greener. But I think right now what's happened, you are getting people that are moving down south, but to say people are leaving Fall River now, to go to the surrounding towns, it's very expensive. I mean, if you want to move to Westport, Somerset, you better be able to afford a $500,000 mortgage, because that's what things are going for. Even in Fall River, they're going for $300,000 and $400,000. So it's not a cheap area. But I'm not saying. I mean, this is where I spent the majority of my life. All my family has gone on. You know what I mean?
Let me ask your opinion, because in shows before we talked about this, the famous train.
Yeah,
The
it's
famous
coming.
train coming
It's
to Fall
coming.
River.
It's coming.
So what is your opinion about?
As someone that commuted to Boston for 15 years, the train is going to be good. However, if you're someone that's going to be working full-time up there, it's not going to be anything that's going to help you other than wear and tear on your car. It's going to be a 45-minute, an hour and a half ride up there. And for anybody that's worked in the city of Boston, that would be into South Station. If you work anywhere outside South Station or that South part, you're going to walk. I worked at Government Center. So when I got off at South Station, either taking the subway in, the bus, I still had another 15-minute walk. So now if you have an hour and 30 minutes, now you got an hour and 45 minutes, and then probably you got to give yourself 15 minutes to get to the train station here. Now you're taking 2 hours. That's exactly what it would take on a bad day. I think, it's going to open opportunities for people here, especially now. A lot of people can work from home. So if you only had to go up there once or twice a week, it's fine. But it's going to raise property value, which we already see happening here. It's going to raise that. People that have lived here, I mean, I hear this a lot, and I totally get it. As someone that probably I remember moving back here from the military in 1986, and I had a 2-bedroom apartment in a decent area, pretty fixed up, $285 a month. So now people are paying $12, $16, $17, $2,000 a month for now. I get it. It's going to raise that. And then we say, what are we going to do about those people that are left behind? There's no other place to go around here. If you think it's cheaper in New Bedford, Providence, Fairhaven, New Bedford, it's not. So what happens to those folks is they have to leave the state.
Well, usually what I do is I put all the points on the table. Before I go against something or in favor of something, I put the points on the table. And those points, either it's going to go up or go down.
Yeah.
Going to be positive or going to be negative.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm looking at the cards, and I didn't change my opinion. I was against the train since day one. I have many conversations about that. And the points that it would make me make my decision that I was not in favor didn't change yet. Now that it's coming closer and closer to.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I always said that the train is not going to bring people to Fall River. It's going to make people from Fall River move away. So, and this is a perfect example. So one of the points that people say, well, but people can go work in
Boston. And people are going to do that.
Let's put now one against another.
Yeah.
How many people from Boston with good jobs going to be moving and sleeping in Fall River versus how many people that sleeps in Fall River goes and works in Boston?
Yeah.
And to me, that's a negative point.
Yeah.
It's a negative point because in 100 people, and I'm going to talk about people with not high school diplomas, but with people that are very well educated with good jobs, with $100,000 jobs. Okay, so how many of those going to come from Boston to sleep in Fall River because the rent is cheaper, versus how many, good jobs people from Fall River gonna go and work in Boston.
Yeah, it depends. You know what I mean? It's going to really depend. We're in this whole COVID after cycle, post-COVID, right? So most people are moving out of cities. We see it even here. New York has lost 300,000 people. New York State, 300,000 people in the last 2 years. They've come to New England. They've gone to Florida, Texas. So the same with Boston. As time goes by, we see it on the news. I mean, the cities, there are issues there. In these cities, there's a lot more crime. We're a smaller city. And, to give credit here, Fall River has always got racked about this. And there's a website called Neighborhood Scout that Fall River was constantly on the top 100 dangerous cities. We're no longer on that. As of this year, we're no longer on that. So that's what's happened. There's a push out of these cities because they become so violent. So I believe people from Boston are moving. They're not staying in Boston a lot of times. They're moving out. And there's that big push to do that. So I don't see it as a bad thing. I never saw it as a bad thing. I saw it as a good thing. I saw it as a place that people down here can go up there and have access to these other jobs.
Well,
and it's going to be younger people, because older people, by the time you get older, it burns you out.
I understand that, and I understand that. And it's talking about those younger people that I'm saying. How many graduate from universities in Boston versus how many graduate universities in Fall River? That's what I'm talking about. So those that from Boston, they have no problem paying $2,000 rent in here versus $4,000 in Boston.
I agree.
But those that work $15 an hour, okay, on a Dunkin' Donuts, how can they afford living in Fall River?
And they're not going to be. They're not going to be able to do it. You know what I mean? A lot of people that have lived here all their lives, unfortunately,
Where they wanna go?
they're going to have to move. Just like every time something's happened, people they pushed out.
Cannot move to Boston.
No, they can't
where
move
they
to
gonna
Boston.
move?
But that's just part of this whole economy, Carlos. You've had people that have come here from Boston, Brockton, Taunton. People are moving further south, because they can't afford to live there. So an example, we think rents are high here. Try going to Taunton or Brockton to see how much rents have gone there over the last 5 or 6 years. So that's what's happened. We've had a lot of folks come down here, because they can't afford to live where they live. And you're right, where do the people from Fall River go? They go down south or they go to the Midwest, because that's more affordable.
And it's, I feel bad that the grandfather lived in Fall River, their parents live in Fall River, they grow up in Fall River, and now the city forced them to move out. So they're going to leave
the city hasn't had anybody move out. It's progress. It's progress. So years ago, what happened in Fall River, right? Years ago, what would happen is a family moved here. They bought a 3-family. The son lived there, the daughter lived there, and the parents were on the first floor. Young kids don't want to live in 3 families now. They want granite counters, they want dishwashers, they want central air. They don't want any of that. So what happens is, if that property is left to their parents, they look and see the parents are gone. I don't want to live there. I can get $500,000. I'm out of here. They were, you know what I mean? Where it was a different society back then. People were more family oriented. It's not the case now. You know what I mean? You don't see a lot of people having their kids in a 3-family. That's the minority compared to what it used to be. And when I was younger, that's what it was. I knew people that they lived on the 3rd floor, brother lived, and then it was the parents, and they took over the property. People don't want, these young kids don't want that right now.
But it's those young kids that move into this all fancy apartments, and they only can stay there for a year. And halfway through the contract, they dying for the contract to end, so they can get out of that contract because they cannot afford to live there.
I agree.
It's one thing. It's nice to wish. And another thing is nice to pay for. And be able to pay for.
I agree.
So I think the movement should happen slowly, but the way the things are rolling, it's too fast. And people are not be able to catching up to as fast as this rolling, and they're really struggling, and they really cannot breathe above water.
Well, and this is all, like I said, part of progress.
And
So-
this is the problem that people get into drugs, get into drinking, get into kill themselves because now they cannot afford, and they don't have a job. They don't have a school enough to get a $100,000 job. They have to force themselves to work in 2 different jobs at $15 an hour.
I wish I had more. I wish we had more time to talk about. This is all part of.
We'll be back.
This is
We'll be back.
This is all part of economics, right?
No, I understand.
So what's basically happened is, due to this COVID thing, people are losing trust in our money. Right? We can see it because what's happening is a lot of these companies are buying up assets because if something happens to our currency, it goes down, and we see that happening, right? Don't we see that happening? Our dollar's not worth it what it was 5 years ago now. You go to the grocery store and you buy a bag of chips, it's $5.50. It was like $3 maybe 5 years ago. So
and you think that the value of the houses, the way they're being increasing, you think that's going to last?
No, it's not going to last. But if something happens with, and this is just not here in the U.S., this is worldwide, our money. We have to look at things and, number 1, China. Number 2, Russia. Do you realize that they have really been sucking away their gold reserve? Our money is no longer on the gold standard in this country. It was taken off back in the 70s. So why is China and Russia increasing their gold reserve? Why is Brazil has increased their gold reserve 60%? So we see right now what's happening in the Ukraine, right? All this bumping, are we going to have a war? So we look at it in this sense as well. China, Russia, what if they say, you know what, because our dollar, we have the reserve currency, and my mind is going now.
Yeah, I know.
All this.
You need an hour now.
Yeah, we need an hour. So basically, if China and all these countries come together and say, we're not using that US dollar, you're not a reserve currency, we have the gold to do it. What happens to our dollar, right? You know this from Portugal. Portugal's money has gone up now because they joined the euro. Prior to that, and we're $30,000 in debt. So I look at it from an economic standpoint. Houses have sold for $100,000 to $200,000 more than they went 2 to 3 years ago. You see people selling houses that bought them for $250,000 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and they're selling them for $400,000. Why is that going up?
And the person that bought that for $400, good luck paying for it.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to pay for it. So I know that, but this is all, it's not just a Fall River thing, this is a worldwide thing. And I wish, if you watch the mainstream media, and I'm talking about MSNBC, CNN, and Fox, they are not going to tell you the whole story of what's happening. So, with that.
Our show and Channel 95 will tell you the whole story. And I see you next week. Thank you.
Have a good night now.